1. And welcome to Photoshop Party Edition, July, August, September. I don't even know what month we're in anymore, so it doesn't even matter. Today we have a Lightroom expert, Dan Holmes, to teach us all he knows about Lightroom in 45 minutes to an hour. So Dan's from the Ventura area, and he's taught Lightroom, I can't tell you how many times, because he's taught it at conventions, he's taught it at affiliate levels, so he has some idea what he's talking about. So Dan, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks for the invite. I'm delighted to do this. Yeah, I'm self-taught in Lightroom, but I've been doing it for quite a while, and I use it as a cornerstone, keystone of my workflow. Everything I do comes into Lightroom, gets organized, metadata applied, keywords applied, sorted. I manage my entire inventory of photos with Lightroom. So to me, the most powerful part of Lightroom is the front end, the library. And Mel has heard me talk about this many times. Are you saving metadata to file, Mel?
Damn.
Okay, so I thought we'd do today quickly is maybe spend probably about half the time on the library, on the first part, managing your work so you can find your pictures when you want them, and then go into develop and do play a little bit with the color crayons, I call it. A lot of times when I do a private lesson, I will insist that we spend the first 2 or 3 hours on the boring library part. And people say, no, I want to go make my pictures pretty. I said, no, we're going to go into the library. Every single time, 3 or 4 months goes by and they come back and say, I'm so glad we did that. So there's one really cool thing about the library and about metadata. Metadata is everything that we know about the picture. Everything. It's what the camera puts in, it's the keywords that we put in, it's the data we put in, it's the color adjustments that we put in, and it's also the mental metadata. Every bit of mental metadata that we know about the picture. The problem is a lot of people run their inventory with mental metadata. I know that picture's here somewhere, and we've all sat through the never-ending, I know the picture's here somewhere. It's here, just wait. Or we look at the computer screen and it is just one mass of folders. So by adding and managing the metadata, you're adding a tremendous value to those photographs. Whether or not you sell stock or sell images, but if you apply metadata, you're applying a lot of value to that picture. You're making a value to anybody else who may want to look in and search and find. So with that, I love questions. So please, as we get into this, ask questions. Michael, help me. We can either text them or raise your hand. But once we get into screen sharing, I don't think I'll be able to see all your hands. So please ask your questions. Keep them limited to the subject matter. We do not have time today for any stories or any experience talk. So just keep the questions there, and then we'll see where it goes. With that, we'll share screen and jump into Lightroom. And please, it's kind of weird presenting to a screen full of faces rather than a room full of people. So react, please. Spending an hour with no questions or no laughter or no booze.
Or no applause.
You'll find this a very quiet crowd.
Oh, please, no.
Nobody said booze was involved today.
I'm not asking a question if I don't get a postcard.
Yes.
Dan, as long as you were talking about metadata before,
yes.
And
yes.
I get a continuing warning on a lot of my images. It says my metadata doesn't match that on the disk.
Oh,
Are you going to cover that?
Oh, you know, when I do a presentation live, I've got photo cards that I give out. So you just won the first one. You got a virtual prize. Yes. Okay. Mel, what am I going to say? The key here is save metadata to file. Okay, I'm going to repeat this multiple times. Save metadata to file.
You're going to show us how to do that.
I will show you how to do that. One thing to think of is everything you do in Lightroom or in Bridge only exists in Lightroom. So all of the keywords, all of the color adjustments, all of the cloning, everything that you do in Lightroom only exists in Lightroom. If you lose your computer, if you lose your catalog, if you crash, if you pour coffee over your keyboard, what happens to all that work which was in Lightroom? It's gone. That's not a happy situation. So the important situation, thank you, Richard.
It's a good reason not to use it.
No. So what you want to do is take all of that information you're doing in Lightroom and save it into the file. Then everything that you've done is locked inside the file that you've created. You open up that file in a new catalog, any other program, and guess what? All that information is in the photograph. Okay, and it is surprising. This is a really common question and a very common issue. And there's two ways to do that. And Mel, don't let me get through here without showing how to do that.
Okay.
Okay, that's the take-home message here. All of the work that you do in Lightroom can be saved into the DNG, into the sidecar file, or into the JPEG. And then it belongs inside that file. And then whenever you back up your photos, guess what? All of your Lightroom work is backed up with the photo. Clear, Richard?
So saving it in the XMP is okay.
Yes, yes. But it's really important to do that. And you can set your computer where we'll do it automatically, or you can do what I do and I just hit select all and save. Command save. Or whatever the strokes are on a PC. Control save. That
You
takes.
go ahead and tell the Lightroom to go ahead and go through the entire catalog and push the information out.
Can you repeat that, Bruce?
Okay, is there a way, if you haven't done this in the past, is there a way to basically tell it to go and save everything that's currently in Lightroom out to all your files?
Yes, you get the next card. Yeah, I have actually done that. It would take quite a while. You can do it piecemeal, or you can do it all at once. All at once might take a lot of resources by your computer. Save, you open up your images, select them, Command save. Okay? Open your images, select them, Command save. All the information goes into the file. Okay?
Yep.
Share screen, desktop. Share. Okay, let's go to Lightroom. Okay, we see in Lightroom?
We
Yes.
are.
Okay. Okay, first off, the thing about Lightroom is it is a catalog. So it's the same thing as a JCPenney's catalog, which, you know, I'm not going to be able to use that example for many more years because they don't hardly exist. The catalog does not contain the dishwasher or the coat. The catalog contains all of the information about the dishwasher, about the coat. And it tells you where it is, what color, the model, all of the metadata about the dishwasher. And it tells you really where it is, that you can find it in the warehouse. So the warehouse is your hard drive where your images are stored. It's a very common question where people think that the images themselves are stored inside Lightroom. No, they are not. The images are stored on your hard drive, and all the information is in the Lightroom catalog. The cool thing about a catalog is it contains a copy of all that information. A browser, which Bridge is a browser, stores no information itself. It just reads it off of the photographs. So when you open up Bridge, it reaches into your warehouse and pulls all that information and makes it available in Bridge. But you can't run Bridge without being connected to your pictures. There's a cool way with Lightroom now. I can do a presentation and have access to all of the features of Lightroom without being connected to my photographs because the information is inside the catalog. Clear so far? So one thing, cardinal rule about Lightroom is once you start working in Lightroom, only work in Lightroom. You can do everything in Windows as far as moving, copying, deleting files in Windows or on the Apple Finder. You can do and should do inside Lightroom. How many have had, can you see what I'm pointing at here? The question mark of death. Okay, there's a question mark here on this workshop example file. Uh-oh. And then if I come up here and look, I've got the exclamation point of death. Could not be found. Well, guess what? Because in setting up this example, I intentionally did this. I moved this folder inside my computer. I did not use it in Lightroom. Okay. That is fixable. But the big thing is just do your work inside Lightroom. Okay, Lightroom, the flow of Lightroom is fairly intuitive. We start here. Is my arrow big enough for everybody?
Yep.
Okay, good. Generally, Lightroom moves in a clockwise flow. Okay, we start here with import. We move up into the folders. Now this is this is the folder structure that you have on your computer right here. It's exactly the same as shows up on the computer. And now I do all my folder creation in Lightroom. Okay, so these are my hard drives on my computer. I've got a 6 terabyte, a 4 terabyte, and then my actual main hard drive. Okay, so this is everything on my computer that I have in Lightroom. As we come across the top, okay, we move up to catalog. I'll just open it because I never use this. So I'm just going to close it. And then we've got Navigator, which is kind of nice. I also don't use it very often. You can expand, move it around a little bit, but actually I almost never use Navigator, so I'm just going to close that. Let me move this out of the way. And we come across and we come down and then we start coming into metadata. This is all of the information that exists about the photograph. And look at this, it's all empty. Let me close that too here for right now. It's really interesting when I bring in our images for image comp, how few people use any of this. Right here, you can put your name, your title, your address, your city, all of this good stuff, descriptions about the photograph, where the photograph was taken, all of this great stuff, copyright, your copyright terms. All of this information adds value to your photograph. And then up here, in this blank, goes the keywords. Okay, all kinds of cool stuff. So, quick introduction to the library. We're going to go to import. And I've actually set up, every once in a while I get a window that opens up. If I don't know what it means, I just close it. So we're going to pretend right now that this workshop example folder is a card that I put in my card reader. So pretend that this is a card in my card reader. Okay, so we're going to now import these photos into the library. Okay, so it is from Macintosh hard drive, but we'll just pretend that says Holmes SD card. And across the top, this zoom thing is, oh, there we go. We've got options. You can copy as a DNG. We can copy, we can move, or we can add. I've been in the habit of, for several years now, of saving as a DNG. That's kind of neither here nor there. Lightroom works extremely well on raw files. That's a whole nother point of debate. I'm just going to bring them in as a DNG. That's a digital negative. It's open source. It works on every program that reads DNGs. So we come across the top, we are going to import it to a place that I am going to determine. We have build previews. Okay, there's several choices here. Standard. If you do one-to-one preview, it makes a very large preview and your pictures will render immediately as soon as you look at them. But they're quite large, so I'm going to just do standard. Smart previews. I do this now because it's quite a cool thing that allows me to work on my laptop without being connected to my files. I think for today we're going to skip smart previews. Don't import suspected duplicates. Oh, it won't let me import anything. Well, that's because in this example I've already imported them once. That's a pretty nice feature. I have spent hours and hours cleaning up a couple of people's computers where they had multiple sets of duplicates. And that's really kind of a mess. You can make a second copy of the raw file. This is a way of a safety backup. I would only do this in the case of a wedding, where I would shoot the wedding, I would import, and at this time I would make a second copy of the raw file to a separate hard drive. The thing about this, it's strictly a copy of the raw file, and it has none of the metadata that you add to it. So I would do this, and then once I'd finished all my work, all the creation, all the editing, saved and backed up those copies, I would actually come back and delete those. I do not add to a collection at this point, but we'll talk a little bit more about collections later. One of the extremely cool things about Lightroom is you can rename all of your files right here. Okay. This is something I preach about pretty regularly. The Nikon, Sony, or Canon file name really does you no good. It tells you nothing, and it is the same as everybody else's Sony file name. And you will get to the point where you duplicate your file numbers. Okay, Canon shoots 10,000, so it doesn't take us very long to shoot 10,000 photos. Eventually, I will end up with multiple images with the same exact file name. Put those into the same folder on your computer, one of them disappears, gone. It just goes into the ether. So I rename all of my files, and I do that here automatically. I've already imported these things, so you'll see, can everybody see this, or is it too small? My file name is DHHolmes _ the date the picture was taken and the shutter number. So this is a very unique number that will never be duplicated. Okay. I'll get around to 10,000. This number will go back to 1, but it will never be, I'm never going to shoot 10,000 pictures on the same day. At least I hope not. Well, I've been halfway there, but no. So, so I rename here DH Holmes, the date, and here my format, I use the year, month, and day. I wish I would have started doing this in my corporate days. It would have saved me hours and hours, but that's a whole nother story. So you rename the files right here, and I create a template. And I've got several different templates, a template for a GoPro, a template for my iPhone, a template for some of my assistants, and some of these other templates that I haven't used in a long time. You create the template right here. And I'll go through this kind of quickly, and should any of you want to do this later and get stuck, you can give me a call. So we will just delete this. Okay, so I am going to make myself a new DHHOLMES underscore, and I come down to the date, and I've got multiple different formats that I can choose. A lot of people do like the full 2020. To me, I'm starting to get too many numbers, so I'm just going to stick with year, month, day, day. And then underscore, file name, number, suffix. Okay, it took me, file name, no, that doesn't work. File name, number, suffix. It would have been a whole lot easier if they just said shutter number, but this means the actual number of your camera shutter.
Thank you.
Okay.
I can't tell you how many times I've gotten baffled on changing it 80 times.
Oh, and yeah, there's a couple of things that I've always had to guess and check until I got it right. This is the shutter number of your camera.
File number, suffix. Awesome.
Yes. Aha.
You're the bomb.
Is that Eleanor?
It is.
Hey.
Yay.
Okay. Okay, good. So we've hit some good ones already. So, and here's the example. DH Holmes, 2000, July 28th, today's date. Okay. And then you come up here and you can save as new preset, restore, delete, or rename. Okay. But I'm not going to change that. Everybody kind of got that down? I went through pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I use the camera shutter number. For the longest time, I started every sequence at 0001. Okay, because it seemed like it made sense. So if I did a shoot on the beach, it would be the beach date plus starting 0001. But I still would end up with lots of pictures at 0025. And inevitably, people would get confused. They would pick 2 or 3 with, and only tell me the last 3 digits, 0025. All of a sudden I realized I don't need to do that anymore. I just use the shutter number. Much, much easier. Okay, so then I can choose my rename files. And the cool thing is Lightroom reads the date of the photograph, not the current date. So it reads this date, 19/12/02, out of the metadata from the camera. So this happens automatically. You don't have to type in the date. Clear as mud?
Sir, yes, sir.
Cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So right now we're not, got that?
Yes.
I can only see a few of you, so holler out. I am not going to rename these because they are already renamed. Develop settings, presets. Okay, within Lightroom, I will find that I was doing the same thing to every picture over and over and over and over again. And finally came to the point of realize, oh, I can create a preset and apply that to every single picture. So now I apply that to every single picture when I import. And this is the import preset that I use, Adobe Standard Highlights and Shadows. I named that, I created it when I set this now, every picture is going to come in and it's going to be 60 to 70% finished before I even look at it. And this is awesome. So it's going to adjust my highlights, my shadows, camera settings, a lot of good stuff. So that is, yes, please.
Okay, so you're saying that you have a standard that affects your highlights and shadows on the same way on every single image.
Yes, when I do the import.
How do you know that, being that every single image isn't going to need the same treatment in like shadows and highlights? I can I can understand things like, lens corrections and things like that, but why would you do that on highlights and shadows?
Because I'll use this to take me about 60 or 70% there, done.
Fine-tune.
So I'm already looking at an image that's pretty well close to the way I like it. And then when I go into the individual picture, I can adjust it further. But this way, if I import 500 pictures, they're already pretty close to done. And it makes my ranking and choosing much, much easier.
So you don't reset the amount of highlights and shadows per job. You're saying every single job gets the same treatment, though, and that's what I don't understand.
Oh, okay.
If you're in a situation where you have one set, oh, I see. You've got them for different. Okay,
yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Yeah, I was
yes,
going to
yes.
say, it depends on what you're shooting. If you're doing landscape, then if you're consistent shooting, then it's usually the same. But if you're doing portraits, you obviously don't want to apply landscape on faces.
Right.
That was my confusion. Thank you.
See, and there I've got a portrait studio preset. Because my lighting and everything in my portrait studio is about the same. So I'll click this when I import, and then the images are pretty close to done already. I don't really tell that to the client because I tell them how much work I have to do on the picture afterward. Okay.
Can you tell it, Dan, can you tell it to apply the auto setting in Lightroom in the develop mode?
You can tell it to do that, yes.
Yeah, I think I could. I haven't, but you could probably put that into your preset. Yes. Yep. And if we get time, I'll show you how to create a preset. It's actually quite simple. So this to me, so there's some really cool things. One is to rename. Two is to add a preset already. And guess what? Now, metadata. This is my stuff. You see I've got all of these different years. Okay. This applies all my personal information to the photograph. So we'll pick that, 2020, and edit presets.
And you save the previous years, you don't just kind of overwrite it?
Yeah, actually create a new one because I'm still going back and cleaning up stuff that's in my hard drive from years ago. And I'm actually doing some scanning now. And so when I scan from 2006, I can easily just come in and use the 2006 preset. So here's all of this good stuff that you can apply to the picture on import. And this is universal. So this is applied to every picture on the import. So here I'm not going to put in category because I may have nature, I may have landscape, I may have photojournalism in the same shoot, but I'm not going to apply that on import. But what I am going to apply, I'm the description writer. It is my copyright. It is my copyright. Here's my terms. And if anybody wants a copy of my copyright terms, just let me know and I'll send that to you. It's fairly long.
Okay.
Protected by yada, 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 yada. Okay, just change the name and you're good to go. I put in my website. I created it. I put in my city. I don't put in my address because that just tells anybody looking at the picture there are cameras at this house.
Let's rub it.
You got it. So I don't put my address pretty much on anything. State, zip, my cell phone, my email, again, my website. And the cool thing is, yeah, I'm the owner. Okay, this is image specific. This is where the image was taken, so we really can't apply that on import. My credit line, my source, I'm not quite sure what that is, but I put it in there because it sounds right. This is something I really like, original digital capture from a real life scene. This is really cool. Scanned from a negative, scanned from a slide, digitized from a print, or scanned from a print, or created by software. So if I'm gonna do a big old digital art composite, it's not an original, it is created by software. That goes right into the metadata, which I think is quite cool. All of these guys here, I don't know what they mean, so I just don't use them. Keywords, okay, keywords are image specific or group specific. They're generally not specific to the entire shoot. In this case, I could, but I don't do those here. So then when you set this up, you can create your presets, and here they all are. And again, I've got a preset here for race photograph assistance, some old ones, portrait business. I can clean out some of these that I don't use anymore. Okay, done. So I shot these in 2019. So we're going to use 2019. Now here, these are all beach scenes, so I can add a few beach.
Do you select all first, or do you just?
No, because these are going to get, great question. These are going to get applied on import.
Okay, I'll wait up.
Yeah, that's a good one. Ventura Pier. Look at that. It's remembering my passwords. Santa Barbara Channel. Sunset. Oops. Commas are good. So here you can apply anything that's going to apply to all of the pictures. And I would go on and on and on, evening, and I can show you more about those. So now we're moving across, we're down to where are we going to put it? This is a confusing part of Lightroom. Okay, and this causes a fair amount of confusion. The way I do it is I normally come in here to this plus mark and create a new folder. Boom. And it takes me back to the Finder. I'm going to come here. I'm going to come here, my working folder. This is in 2009. I am going to Ventura Sunset. Okay, normally I would type in, create this folder right now, Ventura Sunset, with the date. So this I have to create. I'm going to come in and I'm going to do 12/02 Ventura Sunset Workshop example. And create, and guess what? I just created the folder on my Finder. We got that part?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's inside the Ventura Sunset folder, inside the working folder.
This time, because I'm using this as a workshop example, normally I would just create this one.
Okay.
Okay, so bear with me a little bit because I wanted to have access to those DNGs. Okay, so normally this thing would be here.
Right.
Okay, but today it's going to be there. Choose. Look at that. Okay, there's 12 pictures. It's going to import into this folder. Into subfolders. I don't think we're going to go into this today because this is kind of confusing, but this allows you to drop them into folders by date. And if you'll see down here, it's going to drop it into the folder 2019-12/02.
And do you want that? Because then the date's duplicated. That drives me crazy.
Okay, we'll go there.
You can change something.
Sorry.
The format is really important. I like dropping them into the folder of each day of the shoot because I may have 5 days on the card. One day I was in Santa Maria, the next day I was in Ventura, the next day I was in Bishop. This way I can go into the Bishop pictures and do all of the keywording for Bishop. Simple. I don't have to, and then I can go into the Ventura folder and do all the keywording by Ventura folder. So I do like having them by date. This is the format you want, 2020-7-18. You don't, just believe me, you don't want these. Wherever there's a hash mark, it creates a hierarchy. Oh, and this gets people goofed up all the time. You're going to get a hierarchy of 2020, another folder of July, and another folder of 18. Just believe me, don't do that. Do this.
Dan, when you say it drops them into dates, does it read that off the image? And what do you mean when you say it'll drop them into different dates?
Okay, yes, it does. It reads the date of the picture.
Okay.
And drops it into that date, which is awesome.
Awesome. Thank you.
Woohoo! Good question so far, folks. Really good. Okay, so now I'm just going to import. Click, and it goes to work. Importing files. Look at that. There's my folder. And they're starting to come across. And there we are. Ventura workshop example and the date that they were taken. Okay, even though I'm importing them today, it's putting them into 2019-12-02. Clear as mud? Okay, and now look over here. We've got some keywords applied already. And we've got all this cool information here applied to the picture. My copyright terms is copyrighted, my website, the date created, all of this good stuff is applied to every single picture. Got that? And the name has been changed. Okay. Are we clear?
Yep.
So now I'm going to jump to develop for just a minute. I'm going to come back here. There's the original file. There's the imported file. So you can see it's pretty well done already. So that's with the preset that I had applied. So now I can kind of come in here and I can go, okay, well, all of these are cool. There's a keyword set. This is a cool little feature here. Ocean. Oh no, here, what do we want? We want to do this. Water. Oh, helps if I open it. I can now apply sunset keywords. I'm going to call it a landscape. Sunset, red sky, clouds. It's a dramatic sky, dramatic. We've got some red light. We've got evening and evening light. I've just applied all those keywords to all these pictures. Let's go up here to California. Let's see. Ventura Pier. Ventura Pier, Pacific Ocean, Ventura, California coast, seascape. Really no waves there. So this is, boom, done. Keywords are done. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And I've just done something significant to all of these pictures. I'm going to select all and hit Command Save. And now all of that information is going into the file. Is this new to anybody?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Very new.
Great. Carl, I loved your reaction. I can't see everybody, but everybody nod your head.
I like that idea of keyword sets. I wasn't aware of that. That's great.
Awesome, Roy. I love this. It took me a while to use it. And then the nice thing is my Pacific Ocean is always spelled the same. I've got gobs of keywords where I flumbled my typing, and it doesn't know I flumbled my typing. So I've got Pacific, I've got Pacifico, so this way it's super. And they're pretty easy to create. Edit set, and you just come in here and add and create your keyword sets. This is a cool thing.
Dan, I've got a quick question for you here.
Yes.
I shoot both RAW and JPEG simultaneously.
Yes.
I import them. And I understand it's bringing into the catalog both of the images, but only shows the RAW image.
Right.
When you do this save, does it save this information to both the JPEG and the RAW files?
I'm going to give you about an 80–90% yes. I don't shoot. Okay, because I never do both.
Adobe Camera Raw will change the names to both, even though you only have the RAWs opened.
It's probably going to save it to both. And you could easily export a JPEG to another folder and open it and see if those are full. And I'm going to say 99.9% yes, all that information should go to the JPEG.
So
yes.
Go ahead, whoever's starting to talk.
And additionally, does this, is it actually saving them to the files itself when they're a RAW and JPEG?
Yes.
Or to the boxcar?
Right now I'm in a DNG, so it's saving it in the DNG. If you're working RAW, it will save it to the sidecar. Okay. And if you look, when you import, and you look on the computer, you'll see just the RAW file. As soon as you save anything to the file, it creates the sidecar. You'll see the XMP show up.
Okay.
And don't do what I did many years ago. I was working in a different program and I saw all these XMP things and I didn't know what they were, so I just deleted them.
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that myself, Sue.
Good, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
So once these are done like this, once they're saved, if I open this later, some other date in Photoshop, all that information is there, and I can search keywords in just on my hard drive if I want to find something.
Yes. Yes. Okay. It's wonderful. Okay.
Thank
But you have to remember to save. Now, since we're here, we'll go, as we're talking about that, it's probably a good time to see. I don't do it automatically. It's just a force of habit for me. But there is a setting where you can have it done automatically. So go to Catalog Settings, General File Handling Metadata, automatically write changes into XMP. Then everything you do in Lightroom will be saved into your XMP or RAW file. Okay.
There's your checkbox to make sure the JPEGs get it too.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. Include develop settings and metadata. Perfect. There you go. Okay. I don't do that because that means every single little change I make, every little brush stroke you make, that takes a bit of computer resources to do that save. And somehow I generally end up with about 25 programs open in the background and I slug my RAM. That's the only reason I do this. But warning, changes made in Lightroom will not automatically be visible in other apps unless written to XMP. Okay? So this is today's big take home. Either click this or click save. Okay? So now if we look, move this out of the way, everything's hunky-dory. I'm going to apply a color. Okay. Label to delete. Anytime we make a change, we're going to go here and we're going to add a keyword example. This. Okay, a little arrow should show up showing that metadata has been changed. It's not doing it right now for some reason. Of course not. But anytime you see a little arrow show up, that means that metadata has been changed, and go ahead and hit the save. Okay. One of you had a question about the window that comes up and says metadata has been changed or it's different. You could have changed it in Photoshop. You could have changed it on the computer or on another program. I will actually get mixed up. I will not remember which was the latest change. So I just hit Command Save, and it updates the Lightroom metadata.
Okay, got a question for you. I'm looking at your window and I'm not seeing any saved. What are you hitting?
Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, let's do this. Category, see, landscape. Oops. Tab, nature. Just say seascape. And I'm gonna go seascape again. And I'm gonna go Ventura Pier. Huh, I didn't know that. Ventura, California, USA. Okay.
And each time he did that, up where his name is, up in the upper left there, it said saving metadata.
Oh, thank you, Mel. I must have left that clicked. No, I didn't.
No, but it was saved up here in the corner above your name. It was saved.
Okay. Well, that's why the little arrow didn't show up.
Yeah, that's why.
Oh, maybe it's remembering that until I reboot. That could be. That's the safest. Just click that button and then it's always being saved. The way I do it is I will just hit, and this is something that is not visible in any of the instructions really. I'll hit Command All and then Command Save, and it saves. You see up here.
Okay, what is Command Save?
Oh,
Command
that's
S.
Command. Oh, yeah.
Command or Control
S
S. Like
or
I'm saying.
Control S. It's the same as any Apple or PC.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about. So it's
Learn something new.
good. Awesome.
Simple.
Command D is deselect. Command A is select all, and Command Save is save all. Okay, and that works in Word or pretty much all of the different programs. Okay, so we've gone through quite a bit of stuff here. We've got the next step. How are we doing on time, Mike?
We're approaching an hour right now.
I have
Can we-
another question.
Yes.
So I don't use Lightroom except very rarely, and typically it's with a workshop that says import these and do stuff with them.
Right.
So right now I basically have nothing in Lightroom. I just had to completely wipe my computer and I'm reloading everything. I've loaded Photoshop so far, but I have not reloaded Lightroom. Now, if I reload Lightroom now, is everything I did going to be gone? I'm reloading it directly, downloading it from Adobe. So will everything I did previously will be gone because I no longer have, right now I don't have Lightroom. Is that correct?
Why don't you give me a call? And we can either FaceTime or Zoom it, and I can kind of walk you through it.
Okay. Like I say, I don't have anything to worry about, but if I decide I want to do everything, I don't want to have to worry about losing them. And I know if I save, I won't.
Yeah.
I will call you. I'll call you.
Yeah, do that.
Laura?
That's
Yes.
that's a good example of the need to save the metadata into the file.
Yes.
Really good example.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Laura, there's also a thing too. The program Lightroom is different than the catalog that you're utilizing.
Yeah. Now you may have catalogs saved unless you wiped out those catalogs.
That's why I was asking. Yeah.
Yeah. So give me a call and I can.
If I'm going to go through and catalog all my stuff, I don't want to lose it.
You sure don't.
No, I don't.
That's the beauty of this thing, and so, yeah. Okay.
If you save it all to XMP and then you back up those files with the XMPs that are extant, would that not accomplish the same thing in terms of backup there?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Because you can open up a brand new catalog, import those pictures into the brand new empty catalog, and all of your metadata will come with it.
That's the trick.
Bingo. God, you
Dan,
guys are great.
Do you use just one catalog, or do you start a new one each year, or?
Gosh, this is awesome. I pretty much, for all my landscape and daily type work, just use one. And there's 129,000 in this one catalog, plus another hard drive up here with another 59,000. If I'm doing a big job like a marathon shoot, I create a brand new one.
Okay.
It seems to go a little bit quicker, and I don't need that here. And then plus, it makes the keywords a whole lot smaller.
Okay.
Okay. There is really no need to create new catalogs unless you have a specific need to do it, which is a contradiction of terms.
Yeah, I tried to do the smart preview thing and then move it to my laptop, and it had me do a catalog, and I just stopped because I got so in over my head. I thought, where's Dan? Why did we cancel his all-day workshop? You know?
Okay, so the next thing I do is rank them, and ranking is awesome. You can flag them or rank them. Flagging does not go into the metadata. Stars and colors do. So I'm going to go through quickly. I'll make them a little bit bigger. And I'm going to say, oh, this one has good potential. I'm going to give it a 3-star. Just 1. Ooh, I like this one. Maybe 4.
How are you giving it stars?
Oh, thank you, Mike. Hitting the number key.
Thank you.
You can also do it here, but it's easier for me just to go through with the arrow key and the number key. That has potential. 3. That's a little soft. 1. 1. Oh, that's really soft. X. Sharp. Okay, has potential. Even birds. 3. Dark. I think I want to look at it though. I'm going to give it a 3 just because I want to work it. 2. Ooh, cool. 3. And I got a lot of stuff like this, so that's only going to get a 2. On your rankings, learn this the hard way. You should have a lot of 1s, fewer 2s, fewer 3s, fewer 4s, and almost no 5s. And the way I do it, and I've got my sheet right here in front of me, 1 is flag and work, I keep it. 2 is work and show. 3 are selects. 4 are portfolio. 5 is a lifetime. And you see here, I don't have any 5s. Maybe when I finish working it, that might be a 5, but right now I'm just considering it a 4. Really important. So now I can say, give me all my 4s from this day, from this shoot. Oh, there's only 1. Give me all my 3s or better. Give me all my 2s or better.
How are you doing that?
1s. Oh, yeah, Mike, I just absolutely know that. Right here in the lower corner, there's a greater than or equal to, a less than or equal to, and an equal to. I use this all the time. Give me everything greater than or equal to 5. Oh, there are none. Greater than or equal to 4, there's my 4. Give me all my 3s. There are all my 3s. Give me all my 4s. Give me all my 1s. Awesome. I use this all the time.
How did you define your 1 and 2?
Pardon?
How did you define your 1 and 2?
That's a good question. They kind of overlap. 1 is I'm going to keep it. 2, I may work it and show it.
I thought that was 3.
3 is a select. Those are the ones I would normally show to a client. Or 3s and better would be potential for image comp. 4 is definitely for image comp. That's a portfolio, what I call. And then 5 is a lifetime. And I'm still cleaning up the 5s that I used to put in because I really liked it in the old days. I really liked it, so I got a 5. Well, I look at it now and I go, what was I thinking? And you can also add color flags, and I will use colors when I've got a big job and I'm using them to sort. I'll use blue if I'm going to do an HDR or a panorama. But the cool thing about flags or stars and colors is those go into the metadata. Okay, so here I added a blue flag by ticking the 9, or you can click down here. I can make it a green, a yellow, or a red. And if you click it again, it turns it off. Okay, and oh look, my arrows are up again. Here, see, I've made changes, and this is telling me that the metadata has changed. Time to select all and hit Command Save. Arrows go away, I'm current. Boy, Eleanor, that's about 6 hours of metadata in an hour.
I know.
Okay. So we've gone all the way around. We haven't touched, I'm not going to touch too much on folder or on collections. Collections are pretty cool. It's a good tool to use for a job, for a purpose, but it's not the best way to manage your inventory. Collections do not go into metadata. So if you lose, or when you lose your catalog or create a new catalog, these collections go away. A lot of folks manage their whole inventory here in collections. That's not a good thing. Okay, so here's all my image comps. PPC set, my current channel islands. See here, I'll just grab a whole bunch of pictures that I think have potential for image comp, and I'll drag them into the collection. And then when I've got my final selections for image comp, they're just right here. And here we go again.
I remember those.
Yeah, okay. So collections are a really handy tool, and I use them a lot. If I'm going to make a presentation, here's Estonia in 2015. Drag these pictures in to make a slideshow for Estonia. Here's the select photos that I was going to use for that slideshow. Ojai Camera Club. So collections are a great tool, but not for managing your inventory.
If once you have a set of selections and you later decide that you want to keep it as a unit, is there a way of saving that to something more permanent?
Well, the picture is actually not, that's a really good question. The picture is not in this collection. The picture is up here.
Of course.
What I've done with a lady who does birds, she would drag the birds into canaries or orioles. So she'd have an oriole collection. Well, then I'd say, okay, select them all and then add oriole as a keyword.
Oh my goodness.
There you go.
Woohoo!
Talk about keywords there. Jeez.
Or the name of the special slideshow that you did or something.
Yeah. See, these are keywords. These show the keywords of all these different pictures. But this one only has those keywords.
Perfect.
That one only has those keywords.
Dan,
Yes.
isn't there something where if you have different keywords like you're just showing us now on two different images, and then you highlight them all, that it shows up in the keywords with the asterisk?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Right here.
Okay.
Okay. So here I've got two different pictures. The asterisk means that the this keyword is not in both.
Okay.
Not in both.
Is not, travel does not have an asterisk. Nepal does not have an asterisk. That is in both.
Okay.
Subsistence farming is not in both. So here we go here.
Whatever that means.
Base camp trek. And here the keywords are different. Here's the total list. And that's quite handy, actually, the asterisk thing.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So
Hey,
I have
Dan,
Yes.
would it be possible to invite you back again to talk to us? We got like 3 more hours of stuff to cover.
See, we didn't even get into the color crayons.
We barely got touched anything. I mean, you got a lot of information and
Yeah,
like
I don't even know what color crayons are.
oh,
that is, that's this part,
the develop mode.
the develop module.
Okay.
Okay, which is actually quite a bit simpler than the library.
So if you have, so I have all my images in a hard drive,
Yes.
and I also have them backed up like 3 more times because I just had some hard drives crash. So I've got everything backed up like all over the place.
Got it.
And if I were to say lose a backup drive, so one of my drives, and go to a different one, would all my images still be accessible from Lightroom? That's one of the things that super confuses me,
Okay.
is how to find them in real life.
Yes. Yes, they are. So here I've got actually 3 live hard drives showing up. My hard drive on a computer, a 4 terabyte and a 6 terabyte, and actually a 2 terabyte and a SCB card. So yes, you can reach into any hard drive with Lightroom. The question is, what you really want to make sure you do is work on a master file first, and then save copies of those masters into your other backup hard drives. Okay, because very likely you may end up then with a backup of this whole folder with no metadata on the other hard drive.
Okay, yeah, that was my question. Okay, thanks.
Yep.
This is one reason that I like XMP files, because you can just copy over the XMP files to your backup drive without having to copy over the entire file again.
Bingo. Yeah, if you have your XMPs and you haven't changed the name of the XMPs, which I also have done in the past.
That never works.
Don't do that. That's why I'm still happy with a DNG, because everything is in one package, is in
So
one
if we
file.
went back and we renamed the files, then what?
They're hosed.
They don't match.
Yeah.
First thing you do is rename the files, never rename them again.
Oh, that is so right. Yes. That is absolutely right. That's the other big take home here.
First thing, copy over, rename, backup.
This file name right here never changes. DH Holmes, this date, that number, that never changes. Okay, I'll pick another example here. Okay. So here's all the DNGs of this trip. Here are my masters. These are images that are finished in Photoshop. Look at the file name. It is exactly the same with a suffix, master-2, master-1. Here, I've got them with a border ready to print, the same exact name with the suffix border, but this never changes.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you move that, like say I want to take, move it off of your Toshiba onto, I don't know, a different hard drive?
Yes.
Can you
Just-
drag 2011 down to the to a different drive?
Yeah,
That
you can
doesn't change anything, does it?
You can do this. I can take this and I'll move it right up there.
Okay, and that's fine, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
that is
that's
absolutely
what-
fine.
I've
And you
done
know,
that.
and
I've
you
done
notice
that.
where I did that. I did it in Lightroom, not on the computer.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that I know.
And you can create new folders here. Create folder inside.
Right.
So you can do that here in
Okay.
Lightroom.
Okay.
Okay.
Dan, before, I had a slightly different take on, I think it was Laura who asked about hard drives and backups and what have you. One of the things that I do is I make exact clones of my drives.
Bingo. Yes.
That way, if one clone dies, then the catalog will sync up to it exactly.
Yes. And
I don't know. I don't know who said that because I can't see pictures, but you do that when you make a clone and you back up once, does it automatically back up to the other?
No, what I do is I use I'm on the Macintosh, so I use something called Super Duper. There's another program called Carbon Copy Cloner.
Uh-huh.
So it's an offline, more or less non-automatic, where you completely copy the entire contents of one drive onto the other.
Yes.
And it does it in a smart fashion, so it only copies what has changed. Now, if you had a desktop and all of your drives are always connected, I think you can teach it to do, you can teach it to do a backup, every night or every other night or whatever you think is appropriate.
Yeah,
And that has saved my bacon a couple of times when a drive would fail.
Yeah, that's, Mike, that's almost another Photoshop party just on backing up.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Dan, I think I'm going to have to cut you off for an hour and 15. So it's going to take me a while to render this video out. Any other major screaming questions before we cut them off?
When's
Can
he
we get a
coming
phone
back?
number? Can we get contact information, Dan?
Yeah, okay,
You want to do that private chat so we don't
Exactly.
have, it's going to be on YouTube. So
okay.
you can also look at his metadata and find his phone
I'm
number.
looking at that right now. Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Sure, right up.
Yeah. I did a screenshot, so you're stuck in. I've got it embedded. I'll have metadata on it too.
So much for hiding it off of YouTube.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh well.
Before everybody goes, Dan, you should give a commercial for the SIPA Lightroom program that's coming up by our dear friend Hutch.
Yeah, well, okay, Hutch is doing, he's working on the develop module. So he's going to be in on, I think he's talking about universal and individual adjustments within the develop module. And actually, I don't have that date on me right now, but it's coming up.
Cool. Well, thank you, Dan. I appreciate all this information. I'll probably have to watch this like 3 more times to get it all out. So
Phenomenal.
We
I
need a
love the
Dan weekend.
question.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, this was awesome. Great questions. And it's almost like we were in the same room.
Almost.
close.